I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network, and this is a breaking news alert. Judge Raymond Dearie, the special master appointed on the Trump search warrant matter, he sits in the Eastern District of New York. Well, he just wrapped up the first hearing as the special master. It commenced at 2 p.m. Eastern time, and let me tell you, Donald Trump's lawyers got slammed at this hearing. They were on their back heels the entire time. Judge Dearie laser focused on the issues, which was to ask them. And he had, prior to the hearing, put a docketed entry asking them this question, which they didn't respond to in any meaningful way. But Judge Dearie asked him, are you claiming you declassified these records? Are you claiming you own these documents, which the government, the Department of Justice, and the executive branch is claiming as classified records? Do you have any evidence of declassification? To which Donald Trump's lawyers refused to answer. They said, Judge, we don't think it's the appropriate time to have to answer that question. To which Judge Dearie responded, then what am I even doing here? I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but what am I doing here then with those documents? If you're not making the claim that you own them or that you declassified them or there's no disputes at all, who am I to challenge the government saying that these documents are classified documents? I'm not the executive branch. You're a former president. You're not the current president. The Department of Justice, the executive branch, is making a claim. You may be tweeting about it. The judge didn't say this, but you may be saying this. But what are you saying in this courtroom? And Trump's lawyers did not have a good answer. And so it seems where Judge Dearie's going, based on what he said at today's hearing, is he may not even want to look at these confidential records. The government, the Department of Justice, has put forward, as Judge Dearie pointed out, affidavits and evidence that these are classified documents owned by the government. In response, Trump has put forward nothing with respect to those 100 classified records. So ultimately, what it seems like Judge Dearie is going to say, in the absence of you putting forward any evidence, these documents belong to the government. And if you don't want to raise your argument that you've declassified them now, and sure, one of the things that Trump's lawyers are claiming is we want to preserve any claims about declassification as a defense if we are indicted. And the judge basically said, without saying these exact words, I'm the special master who is supposed to look through these documents. So that's great that you want to do that and preserve it as your defense or whatever the heck you're telling me. But at the end of the day, I'm the one who you've appointed, who you wanted to make these determinations. And if you're not even asserting it, who am I as a judge to assert it? Let's give it back to the government. So that was one of the big things that came out of today's hearing. Another big thing to come out of today's hearing is Judge Dearie wants to move quick. He doesn't want BS. He controls his courtroom like a real judge, not like Judge Eileen Cannon. And Judge Dearie is saying, look, I think this could be done by October 7th. I think this could be done soon. Let's get to work. Let's roll up our sleeves and get this done. To which Trump lawyers responded, but we thought we had until November 30th. We want to delay this thing. They didn't say those exact words, but respectfully, Judge, it's going to take us a lot of time to find the right vendor and to do all of this. And Judge Dearie was having none of it, full stop. And Judge Dearie pushed back at Trump's claims. And so one of the things that Judge Dearie also said is that whatever your litigation strategy may be, Trump's lawyers, that's not going to affect how I resolve this matter and the recommendations that I'm making to Judge Cannon. One of the other things that the judge said, as I had mentioned, is he asked Trump's lawyers, well, what's your view about, these documents? Are they claiming they're classified? Are you claiming they're not classified? The judge said this, and let me quote, how am I going to verify classification? What business is it of the court? He said, to which Trump's lawyer responded, we should not be in a position to have to disclose declarations and witness statements, to which Judge Dearie responded this. What a slam. My view is you can't have your cake and eat it too. So that's basically how the hearing went, with Judge Dearie being very skeptical of Trump's claims regarding these documents. Judge Dearie seems inclined with respect to those classified records to just give them to the Department of Justice and end the inquiry there, because Trump's lawyers aren't even making a claim. And then one other issue that came up is that Trump's lawyers wanted access to, the records and to the government documents, to which the Department of Justice pushed back that your security clearances may not be appropriate here. And Trump's lawyers responded, "Oh, we're the lawyers of a former president. How dare you say that we don't have the appropriate authority?" And one other point of what Trump's lawyer said to the judge, and this was like an interesting legal kind of back and forth, where Trump's lawyer said, "We're not trying to engage in gamesmanship here." And the judge basically responded, "Sure, you're not trying to respond. Why would I ever believe you're trying to respond in gamesmanship?" And it was done in that kind of sarcastic way. But it's also the projection of Trump is also obviously instilled in his lawyers. So let me just back up for a second and situate the context here so everybody just remembers what took place. So the search warrant was executed on August 8th. Trump did nothing until August 22nd. He filed a motion for judicial oversight and related relief with Judge Eileen Cannon, someone who he appointed. She really doesn't have any jurisdiction over it, but nonetheless, she issued a September 5th order where she asserted extraordinary equitable jurisdiction on the basis that former presidents have, potential reputational harm, and there's an extraordinary circumstance here. And so she asked the parties to submit special masters. Two were submitted by the Department of Justice. Two were submitted by Trump. One of the people Trump submitted was Judge Raymond Dearie, this judge. And the reason Trump submitted is that his lawyers went down this MAGA rabbit hole. And because Judge Raymond Dearie was on the FISA court that issued a search warrant for Carter Page, which was later found to have defects in it based on representations made by the FBI, and Trump and MAGA world, they believe that for some reason that would make Judge Raymond Dearie not like the FBI or not be supportive of the Department of Justice positions, regardless of what the actual facts of a situation was. But Judge Raymond Dearie, everybody who speaks about him says he has an impeccable reputation. He's the former chief judge of the Eastern District of New York. He sat on a FISA court, the foreign surveillance courts, so he knows classified and confidential records. He knows how sensitive they are. He knows how to identify them. And Trump chose him for the reasons that I told you. Judge Raymond Dearie, since he's been actually appointed because Trump selected him and Judge Eileen Cannon gave Trump what he wanted, he's actually followed the law. And he's been very aggressive in saying the truth and supporting justice and saying, "I'm not doing this BS stuff. Tell me, Trump, are you claiming they're declassified or not? No games here. Are you claiming them?" And Trump said, "We don't have to tell it to you. We don't need to tell everything right now. We're not going to reveal our position. It's going to hurt us in our defense if we're indicted." To which Judge Raymond Dearie said, "All right, well, we'll hold a hearing on Tuesday," which took place, "and let's talk about it. Let's see what you want my role to be." And Trump's lawyers looked like utter fools because they are representing the biggest fool in the world. And at the same time they have this going on, Trump filed an appeal to the 11th Circuit where he also didn't make the argument that he tries to make on his social media platforms. And he didn't claim that he owns these records. And so what I suspect is going to happen is Judge Dearie may give these documents to the DOJ immediately. Like an order can hit any moment now, I think, where Judge Dearie may just say, "Okay, those 100 classified documents, those go to the government is my recommendation next." Or I think that the 11th Circuit is going to rule in favor of the Department of Justice because with these classified records, there is no possible claim. The law is well established. A prior president can't claim executive privilege, certainly not over the current executive branch. The current executive branch has the right and ownership over its records, especially its top secret classified records, and especially when they have a need for it, when they have an interest in it. And Donald Trump has not claimed those documents. And if he did, the reason why he's not is he'd be admitting to the crimes. There was one update in the Court of Appeals brief he filed today where he was saying, well, this is what Trump said, I may have written notes on the classified records, so that shows there may be executive privilege. No, it doesn't, because you don't have executive privilege anymore. You're not the president, and you've admitted to mutilating the documents by writing on it. As I've described in an earlier video that I did, Trump's claim essentially to the Court of Appeals regarding those documents is like a dog's claim of territory who pees on a bush. It's like the dog saying, I pissed on the bush, that's my bush. And Trump saying, I scribbled on a confidential, top secret classified record, it's mine now, or it should be mine. That's how absurd his argument is. Judge Dearie sees it, so we're good there. I'm comfortable and confident, and you should be too, about this Judge Dearie process, that this is not helpful to Trump. And you may go, well, Trump delayed and he got what he wanted by delaying this process. Sure, but I think he's dug a bigger hole for himself in incriminating himself by dragging this process through. If he just dealt with this process how normal criminal defendants being investigated deal with it, have lawyers in the background trying to work cooperatively with the Department of Justice, I think he's created exponentially greater criminal liability for himself by doing it this way. And perhaps, one, he's deranged. Two, he hates this country. He's the most anti-American, and MAGA is the most anti-American movement. But he also has that martyr complex where maybe he wants to dig the hole. Maybe he wants to be prosecuted so he can say, oh, pity me, pity me. I need to raise more money. I get to steal top secret nuclear codes and I should not be held accountable. Oh, they're coming after me. Bottom line, accountability is coming. You should feel good right now, okay? Even regardless of what the 11th Circuit does, Judge Dearie knows these issues. Donald Trump has put himself in a corner with his weird legal arguments, and we're in a good place right now. Hit the subscribe button right now. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Join the Meidas Mighty movement. Are you a member of the Meidas Mighty? If not, hit the subscribe button right now. And one more thing. We are an independent media network. We are not funded by outside investors. There's no millionaires or billionaires or 100,000. No outside investors. So we stay independent and accountable to you. But the way you can help out, help this network grow, is by joining our Patreon account at patreon.com/MeidasTouch. That's patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Become a member at one of those tiers. That's how you could be involved in supporting independent media. We're so grateful for you. It's an honor to be able to do these breaking news stories with you each and every day, and hopefully providing a little clarity with all of the noise out there. Until next time, I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network.
MeidasTouch is unapologetically pro-democracy. And look, we know you are too. So please make sure you check out our best-selling shirt and our best-selling gear, the unapologetically pro-democracy gear. And hey, while you're at it, make sure you check out my favorite shirt and one of our most famous designs, It Wasn't Rigged, You're Just a Loser, at store.meidastouch.com. That's store.meidastouch.com.